here in Kansas. So good morning, everybody. Barb Pitcock here every Saturday morning, No Guts, No Story. If you are watching it live, you're going to see a little red box that says live. Please comment live. I would love to know who's watching, where you're watching from. How long have you been watching No Guts, No Story? Because we are coming up on 2006. That is a very long time ago that I started doing No Guts, No Story. Before Facebook, it was a dial-in teleconference call. And I've rarely missed a Saturday morning. It's my favorite time of the week. And it is the name of my book, my first book, No Guts, No Story. Second one on the way, much overdue. But today I want to check in with all of you because we are on the 11th day of the month of a brand new year. And some of you have started a new year loving the direction that you're going. And we are also seeing so many people in complete devastation, disarray, challenge, trauma. That is life. And that's why I started doing No Guts, No Story many, many years ago, because like many of you, Dave and I had the ups, the downs, the in-betweens, the good, the bad, the ugly, the devastation where we had lost everything, the tragedy where we experienced great grief and just trauma, right? And then there was other times in our life where everything was going good. And the reality is this roller coaster ride that gets going does not stop because the downhills give us the momentum for the uphills, and nobody wants to experience the downhills. Nobody wants to experience the lows. Nobody ever plans for complete devastation and loss and sadness and grief or trauma, but that is part of this life. And it's sad, but it's true. The suffering that I'm seeing going on today on social media is something I don't think any of us can even fathom. And I know that many of you have been through times in your life where you lost everything, where your back was against the wall, where you were like, what am I going to do? And some of you today have written books, have started ministries, have witnessed to other people. You've shared your story on a podcast or YouTube. But the reality is, if you knew it was going to be okay when it was happening, you probably would have been better. You just never realized that one day you would be okay. And last night I was sitting down. I've been doing a brand new women's 52-week devotional journal. And one of the things that was in it for the week was your gratitude. And you know, what I wrote for my gratitude last week was completely different than what I wrote for my gratitude last night, because I was literally watching a live video of a friend who I admire so much. When I call Terry LaCour or Jennifer Grace at LaCour and I say, who would be a great mentor for me? They always tell me someone who has done more, experienced more, learned more, had more, succeeded more. They always tell me like someone who owns a company or is running a company that's where I want to be, right? So there is this one particular individual. When I spoke at Direct Selling News, he was like my favorite speaker of the day. In fact, he was the most enthusiastic, had the most golden nuggets, incredible with AI, crushing it with courses for his company. And even this past couple of months, we have modeled our future success based on what worked, what didn't work, really admiring this amazing human. And I will tell you, even in conversations with our doctor at our company, I say, if you look at what they've done with their doctor, and just an incredible legend in the industry. And one of my favorite stories from that event, he was sharing how his little boy, who had always struggled with reading, had used a certain tool and created this amazing Christmas gift for everyone in their family. I quickly called Dave, all of the grandkids. He was in Arizona at the time. And I was like, go download this app, look at this little boy and see if our grandkids could do this. And it's so crazy because just 2 or 3 months ago, looking at all of his accomplishments and this mansion in LA and all of the success, the last couple of days, I watched him praying for him, frantically praying for him, thinking there is no way. That fire is so far from his house. That's just a cloud of smoke. And last night, as I was falling asleep, I was watching him video, a few pictures, the dog, the album. It's so heartbreaking. Just seeing him standing there saying, as I was running from the house, when I realized there was no way to save it, I grabbed the things that were most important to me. A few of the kids' baby things, a few of their pictures. We got the dog, we got the kids, and he showed a picture of his feet and said, I wish I would have thought to grab some practical things like a pair of shoes covered in soot at the bottom of a mountain with whatever he could fit in his truck that smelled like fire. And when I went to sleep last night, I literally had zero complaints. I had zero worries because everything I thought was a really big deal all day. Things I wished had gone different, things I wished would be more, people I thought would come through in a different way. Any disappointment that I had went away because there was nothing worse than seeing someone live on a video being interviewed by the news with nothing left but a few pictures and their children. And you know, he was grateful. He was grateful that he got out of the house with his dog, his wife, and his 2 kids and a few pictures. But have any of you ever had a friend who has witnessed this type of loss? Or, you know, during the hurricanes, during the flooding, during tornadoes that we've had here in Kansas, you see someone who's literally crushing it, and then you watch them lose every single thing. And you know what? It says in the Bible that God will bless us 10x for anything that we've ever lost. And you know, I like to believe that, because whether it's a fire, whether it's a tornado, whether it's a hurricane, whether it's a flood, I have seen so many times where the enemy wants to destroy and take and devastate, and God will literally bless that person 10x for all that they've lost. But it's not making it easier during the loss, right? Because they don't know what the future holds. And actually, there's a GoFundMe. I was wanting to share that last night, and I was like, where do you even start? Because there's one, then there's another, then there's another, and we're working together as a company to put something together. But I just want to start by saying, you all have so much to be grateful for. If you have a home, if you have electricity, if you have water, clothes, your kids, your dog, your health, you got to start with so much gratitude. And on day 11 of a new year that many thought was going to be their best year ever, they're experiencing so much tragedy and loss. So I just want to pray for those people and lift them up with so much love and prayer and light. And I would encourage any of you who see anyone who is struggling, what could you do? Could you send some clothes? Could you send some money? Could you send some food? Could you invite them into your prayer group? Could you send them a book, a journal? Can you even imagine? Because here's the thing, it doesn't have to be a lot. It's the thought that you cared to give. Be the go-giver, not the go-taker, right? So there's no excuse for any of us to not come up in 2025. I will tell you, there will be people who have lost every single thing they ever had that will find a way to get back up and keep going. You know, Les Brown says it, if you can look up, you can get up, and you may not be in the best shape, but you can keep going. I want to encourage all of you to look at where you're at on the 11th day of the year. Yes, Holly, that is literally the best book. I have given that as a gift before to everybody on my team. So when you look at where you're at on day 11, where do you want to be? Whether you're starting at, you're halfway to your goal, you're completely devastated, you're starting at 0, maybe you're already incredibly successful and you're comfortable. I'll tell you, nothing good happens in a comfort zone. There is only one way you're going if you're not setting a new goal and you're comfortable, and that is down. Because gravity says we're either growing or we're dying, and none of us are going to coast up a hill. So every day, today I'm kind of having a bad hair day. I had this little tie. I was like, maybe I'll pull it back. Then I was like, maybe I'll do a high ponytail. Then I was like, that looks terrible. And then I was like, you know what? I don't even care if I got my hair done in time, because guess what? I was reading, I was growing, I was preparing for an amazing day today of training, growth, coaching. We have a 21-day challenge that's going on. And I want to tell you what's happening inside this 21-day challenge. It's free, completely free. How many of you are in the 21-day challenge? How many of you have no idea what the 21-day challenge is? Well, the 21-day challenge is a whole community of women and men elevating everyone every single day, right? So there's recipe tips, there's move your body tips, there's put lemon in your water tips, there's stop and breathe so you have more oxygen to your brain and you feel good, you do good, right? There's nutritional tips, there's financial tips, there's opportunities. Everything's crazy good in this Feel Good Now 21-day challenge. So this morning when I woke up, the first thing I did, I invited 12 people to the challenge, because I thought to myself, who are 12 people that I know that would love to elevate their mind, their body, their bank account? When I was there at the DSN with this friend of mine who lost everything last night in the fire, I got so much value from everything that he brought. And do you know what? I never forget the value that he brought. Your friends will never forget the way that you make them feel. They're not going to care about whether you're crushing it financially or bankrupt in a divorce. They're not going to care whether you got fired or whether you got a promotion. You think they care. But if you knew how little they really cared about you and your business, you would probably be appalled. Like, you would probably be like, they don't even care. Here's the reality. When people air out all the bad things happening, most of the people watching you are like, thank God it's them and it's not me. And the other people don't even care. They just keep scrolling. They're like, wow, she's going through a bunch of stuff. But we sit and worry about all the things that other people think, what they're going to say, how they're going to react. We have embarrassment. We have shame. We have blame. We have guilt. We have, I don't know if I should go live because, and here's the truth. You have to get rid of all of the excuses. You're either going to come up and get back on top or to the top for the first time, or you're going to stay stuck. But the no excuses mentality is this. You can make money or you can make excuses. You can make impact or you can make excuses. You can get fit or you can make excuses. You can hit the next rank in your company or you can make excuses. Everybody's making excuses every single day. I'll wait till the ice melts. Oh, I'll wait till it's warmer outside. Oh, I'll wait until it's February because January I had so many bills and I spent so much on Christmas. I'll wait till I get the decorations down. Then I'll organize my closet. I'll wait and tithe next month once I get American Express paid. Here's what I have found. When you do the right things and you don't make excuses, everything else works out. Because it's a vortex energy that gets going to where you're either in the flow or you're not in the flow. And right now, there are so many people with every reason in the world not to win. But do you know what? They're like, oh my gosh, that's not in the vortex. I'm going to get over here in the vortex so I can start winning again. They're not going to stay stuck, sad, mad, doomy, gloomy, all the bad things. They're going to get themselves in the flow, stay in the flow, and that vortex energy gets going like a snowball rolling down a hill. You can't stop the good. So how many of you right now, you feel like you're in the vortex? Say, I'm in the flow. I'm in the flow. Everything good is happening for me. And how many of you feel like you're way out of it? Like, I'm literally so far out of the flow. Just be honest. You're either in the flow or you're out of the flow. And when you're in the flow, all the momentum gets going. Like, you're like, wow, everything good happens to me every day in every way. I'm getting better and better. I am sorry, you guys. I have this parrot that is screaming louder than I am. And I have tried to move him 3 times, even put on a thick sweater. He doesn't want to move. Every time I try to move him, he just wants to bite my arm. So here I am arguing with a parrot. Everything I say, he says. I don't know if I'll be able to edit this or if you're just going to have to put up with pickles. But one of these days, that bird is going to have a room that goes out of my kitchen in a soundproof glass barrier, and I'm not going to have to move 3,000 feet away from the bird every time I want to do a live. But for now, I'm stuck with the bird. He's going to live longer than me and Dave. Callie got him. I got stuck with him. And there we have it, Pickles. So no excuses. I had to go live anyway, even if I couldn't get the bird to get on my arm and move to the other room. So this morning, part of the reason why I didn't get my hair done, I didn't get completely ready before the live, is because I was so absorbed in personal development. Now, there is a great book by Brian Tracy called No Excuses. This one was bargain priced at $7.98. Yesterday on our 21-day challenge, I said it should be $798, because when I bought this $7 book for my team, everybody was winning. Everybody was on the leaderboard. Nobody was making excuses. People were absolutely crushing their goals, because one little thing in there could completely create a paradigm shift for you, your kids, your grandkids, your spouse, your team. Can you move, Pickles? He just wants to fight with me, and he wants to bite me and knock it on my arm and get out of here. But he's so annoying this morning. Thank you, Dave. So there's laws of the universe, right? And the laws of the universe are what you give out comes back to you. What you want wants you. When you give, it always multiplies. But some people are so afraid to give. And so I'm going to challenge you today. I want you to take away every excuse that you can't succeed. And I want you to tell me a reason why you can. Well, do you know what it comes down to? It comes down to beliefs. We either believe we're going to win or we don't believe we're going to win. And we act as if it's so. So when I started out this year, 2025, I was like, we are going to be number one. We are going to win. We are going to hit momentum. We are going to help more people make more money and change more people's lives with a product line than any other company in our space. And when I said that bold statement, I knew in order for me to do more, be more, have more, and impact more, I had to get better. Drop in the comments and say it. In order for things to get better, I have to get better. Not they have to change. Not it has to change. Not the economy has to switch. In order for things to get better, I have to get better. Taking full responsibility for me. It's nobody else's fault. It's me. So when you say that, I want you to ask yourself a question. What are you doing to get better? What are you doing to get better? How do you grow? Do you want to know why I didn't get my hair done today? Because I was too busy reading not one book, not two books, not three books, but 4 books since I got up this morning. And then when Dave walked into the room, my brain is literally like, don't tell him everything that's in your brain or he is going to be overwhelmed. But I was literally on another level. Now, how many of you wake up and this is what you do? You look at your text from your kids, your downline, your sideline, your boss, your mother, your brother. Then you go to Instagram. Then you got the news. Then you got the news feed. Then you got a Gmail notification. Now you got a late payment notification. And before you even have your feet hit the ground, you're already at negative 325, right? So your energy, what you put out, has to come from what you have in. So one of the things that I don't do is wake up and look at my phone. One of the things I don't do is lay there in bed with my phone. I put it away from me, right? And not only do I put it away from me, I wear a pendant that keeps the EMF away from me. And not only do I do that, but I have a little sticker on the back of this device and it keeps it all away from me because it's draining. And you can't pour from an empty cup and I can't pour from an empty cup. I have to fill my cup. Speaking of that, I haven't even had coffee, just had my mushrooms, and I had my cup ready to go. Didn't get it made, didn't want to be late, but here it is. This is my cup for the day. All aboard the Hot Mess Express. Because I want to tell you something, I would rather do it messy than not do it at all. And I want to encourage you to take action, do it messy, do it scared, do it broke, do it with no experience, do it without knowing what all you're doing. Just go do something. And I can't pour from an empty cup. So if I don't have anything in here yet, how am I going to share with you? I would have to fill it up in order to have anything to pour. That's common sense, right? Well, it's the same thing when it comes to your personal development. You can't lead where you don't go. You can't teach what you don't know. And you definitely can't empower other people if this is on empty. So when I wake up, I am like, I got to read. I got to listen. I got to take notes. I got to journal. I got to be great in order for other people to be great. And guess what, guys? I'm no different than you. When I wake up in the morning, I don't wake up great. And when I go to bed at night after being drained all day long, your mind is like a bank account. Withdrawal, 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 withdrawal. Pretty soon you're like, I'm spent. How many of you feel like you are completely spent? And you're like, I don't even know how to get to where I have the motivation because you're too worried about helping everyone else, fixing everyone else, pleasing everyone else, paying for everyone else, controlling everyone else, trying to schedule everyone else. I am going to tell you, you need to focus on one person, and that is you. And if you don't define what you want, your goals and dreams, not theirs, your bank account, not theirs, your paid vacation, not theirs, your insurance, your savings, your bank account, your relationship, your gut health, your mindset, like it starts with me, right? So when I wake up in the morning, I'm not going to go read everyone else's crap. I'm definitely not going to tend to everyone else's problems, and I don't need to see everyone else's reel. I've got to focus on the movie that I'm creating. How am I going to show up today? And how is my movie going to play out? Because I'm the director of the own screenplay, right? Last night, Dave and I went to a movie. Fun fact about Barb. How many movies do you think that I've seen in 53 years in their entirety? Meaning like I didn't fall asleep. I actually remember the movie. I can count them on two hands, guaranteed. When I was a little girl, I got in trouble for looking around the side in the living room. My dad was watching Saturday Night Fever, and I remember John Travolta kicked a trash can and said the F word. I got grounded for like 2 weeks for trying to peep Saturday Night Fever. It was like a bad movie back then. Like when I grew up, kids didn't hear the F word. It was like not happening in our house, right? And then I remember there was a Dolly Parton movie that came out, and it was like Harper Valley PTA or something. And it was a really bad movie because the thing that I remember that was so demonic and evil about it was this naked guy was caught outside of a hotel room and he was wrapped up with a fire hose, right? So like he was part naked, and we might have seen something that was like 1976 porn. I don't know, but I was not allowed to see it. I just remember the lyrics the day my mama socked it to the Harper Valley PTA, and that was like bad. Like that was like today's version of Cardi B or something, right? So growing up, we didn't watch TV. My belief was TV is bad. Idle time is the devil's advocate. You should not sit down and watch TV. Lazy people watch TV. You're either going to make money or you're going to make excuses. You shouldn't sit and hold the automatic income reducer when there's a yard to mow, there is laundry to do, there are kids that need fed, there were rental properties that needed cleaned. I was 12, working at a grocery store. Mom and dad owned Natoma Foods grocery store, part of a Sonic, 2 dairy distribution businesses. Like they had a campground, a putt-putt golf, 8 or 9 rental properties on one street. Like we were always moving someone in, moving someone out, fixing a broken pipe, cleaning a rental, mowing a yard. Like if I didn't have all the socks mated, all the laundry done, all the kids fed, mom and dad were gone. I was 12 or 13 and literally running a household. So don't hate the messenger just because you hate the message. I, to my core, believe that there are great things that can be done if I just get up out of the recliner and go, right? So it's the way that I was bred. It's my beliefs. Hate me if you want to. Don't say I got lucky. I worked my living ass off. And you know what? There are a lot of people who want to sit on the couch and do all the things and hate all the people that are in the upper 5%. So 5% of America owns 95% of the wealth. 5% of America owns 95% of the wealth. Not because of their political party, not because of their race, not because of the language they speak, definitely not because they had two parents at home, because I didn't. My dad ran off and changed his name. My mom had zero child support. My mom lost the house that I used to mow the lawn in and do the dishes in. And, it was only 3-bedroom, but it was nice. We had 5 of us kids, 3 bedrooms, 3 girls in one bed, 2 bed in another. It wasn't like nowadays where everybody has to have their own room. We all shared a car. We all shared bath water. It completely grosses Dave out. I'll be like, do you want my bath water? He's like, hell no. It's just what we did. So how do you have the beliefs that you have today ingrained in you and believe that they are true when the next person over there is like, oh, if you go to that church, you're going to hell. If you're that political party, you're definitely never going to succeed. I can remember my dad literally believed if my mom did not join the Catholic Church and she stayed a Baptist, they would never be wealthy. He believed it to his core. He still does. We talked about it this summer. And I'm looking at my mom like, she did pretty well for herself. Single mom, lost every single thing, including her husband, who changed his name, disappeared until Dave and I got married. And do you want to know something? My mom started at a factory burning the copper wire that they were throwing away. She took the copper wire. She went and recycled it. She got a little house. She moved into one of the trailer houses that used to be their rental property. There was some government program that it was so bad the pipes would freeze and the cold blew through the windows. The government actually gave her free windows. Dave and I came home for Christmas under the trailer with a blow dryer, trying to unfreeze the pipe so that those 4 kids at home could share bath water. And you know what? I don't care what anyone says from today until the day I die. It's either make excuses or make money. That woman taught me everything I know. And she came up out of those ashes like an ember from the ashes. And she literally bought the whole damn town. And I'm not kidding when I tell you that, guys. This single lady of 5 children with no husband that stood on the courthouse steps, losing her house in foreclosure, moving into a trailer house with no good heat and air. 5 kids in a bed and the other one rolled over and said, roll over. That was my mom. And today, this woman owns everything. The campground, the RV park, the car wash, the putt-putt, the Christmas store, 70 some rentals with my little brother. And do you know what? She's never done network marketing like I do. She's always loved the product. She's always been my #1 fan. There were chapters where she absolutely hated the industry because she saw what I went through. But do you know what she says every single day? Things are going to get better. Things are going to get better. Barb, it's going to get better. You just got to keep going. It's going to get better. And I'm telling you, whether you're in complete devastation this morning or whether you're literally winning like you've never been winning, it can get better. It will get better, but we have to get better. 3 years ago, when I went to my mom, covered in shingles, influenza A, pneumonia, burying my mother-in-law, I remember my mom sitting at the hospital with me night after night after night in that hospice room. My daughter was so bad, I couldn't even get her to answer the phone or come to Christmas or a funeral. I remember thinking, how could I lose my mother-in-law? How could I be losing my daughter? How could I be losing a business that I had built for so many years? How could any God that loved me allow me to be in so much pain and agony? And I'm telling you right now, my mom would tell me every single day, things are going to get better. Things are going to get better. You just got to pray about it. She would literally name my prayer coach and say, should we call her? I would go stay at my mom's house if Dave was working on the properties at the lake, and I would sleep at my mom's house. And before we went to bed, she would say, do you want to call her so we can pray? And when I would wake up in the morning, my mom would say, do you want to call her so we can pray? And I want you to think about how many things you have today that you prayed for, but you go to bed at night and you're not grateful for exactly where you're at, because it's better than it used to be. and you prayed for exactly what you got. But then for some reason, we never start the day happy. And one of the books that I was reading, literally, it's Be Still and Know. You have to sit and write down what you're grateful for. And do you know what comes right after you give all of your gratitude? Even if you got out of the house and you lost everything in the fire and you don't even have shoes, but you have your kids and your dog. I watched this friend of mine going live being so grateful. And if he can be grateful, standing there barefooted with soot all over him, how could we not be grateful? And I will tell you, because when you're going through something, your problem is always bigger than everyone else's because it's your problem. And when you sit and you reflect on what you're grateful for, when you sit and you write all the things that God has blessed you with, it puts things into perspective. Then you ask. Then you ask. For me, it always starts with repentance. Like, I'm repenting my sins. Please forgive me. I know that, I would be nothing without you. It always starts that way because sometimes I think, who am I to deserve the amazing husband that I have? Who am I to be blessed with 4 beautiful grandkids that are alive and healthy? Like, who am I to have the gifts or the talents or the dreams that God put into my heart? Who am I to have survived all the things that I've survived? And an interesting story this week, one of my family members is just going through hell right now. And anytime that you've been blessed as a parent, you always want to lessen the suffering. Like, I think that's just a human nature, especially as a mom. You want to lessen the suffering. You want to take away the pain. You want to fix. You always want to try to help. And this person that I love so much, I was like, let me just send food or this or that. And the answer was, don't make me weak. Please don't make me weak. Like, I know you want to help, but please don't make me weak. And at first I was like, make you weak? Like, who the heck do you think you are? I'm just trying to send a Walmart delivery, right? But when you think about being a child of the Most High God, and if you're a believer and you know that you were created for greatness, that you were blessed with gifts, that you have so many talents. I mean, it's a new year. You're setting goals. You know that you have these talents and gifts. Where does it come from that you think it can't happen for you? Like, where did this belief even come from? It came from stacked beliefs that happened. Failure, somebody saying something, not following through on what you said you would do, a poor decision that you made that caused harm or great loss to your family. Or maybe you know something that you did that no one else does and you feel shame and you feel guilt. Like, if they knew who I really was. Here's the great thing about my faith. I know that it's all washed away. Like, there is nothing that I have done that could stop God's plan for my life, no matter what I did. I mean, I did horrible things as a 12-year-old girl, biblically anyway. I did things no 12-year-old girl should ever do because I was so lost. I was seeking validation, love, recognition. I was lonely. I was insecure. I was a little redhead, freckle-faced girl with nobody around. And people need to feel loved. I had lost my grandmother that year, who was literally my everything. Like, she is the person I aspired to be. And she left me with one thing that nobody could ever take away. And that was my faith. She left me with such a rock solid faith because one day I prayed a little prayer at 12 years old, right before she passed away. And I asked God to come into my heart and made him my Lord and Savior. And somebody told me that if you prayed this prayer, everything you've ever done would go away. You would literally be washed clean. And then you could accomplish anything you ever dreamed of with him because he would be for you. And I remember thinking, like, if he's for me, what could I accomplish? And at 12, I was like, I think I'm going to start teaching twirling lessons. And then at 14, I was like, well, I think I'm going to open a dance school. I'll just go teach in the basement of the city building. And then at 17, I was like, I know I'm not old enough to join Amway, but I'll date someone that's old enough, right? And then at 19, I was like, I think I'm going to open a dance school and go to New York and dance on Broadway. But when my dad disappeared and college was not an option, then I was like, how could this horrible thing happen to me? All of my dreams are shattered. But do you know what happened for me? God was directing my path like a dot to dot. Nope, don't let her go to New York. Let's keep her little podunk Russell. That way, when everything in her life goes bad, her relationship, all the stuff goes bad, then we're just going to move this other little checker over here. And we're going to bring David Pitcock to town with a broken leg, and he's almost going to die in a bull riding accident. And he's going to be over here with a broken leg, and she's going to be over here heartbroken because her boyfriend's going to do her wrong, and she's going to want to close her business and run from everything. The devil's going to tempt her to go drink a full bottle of rum, but instead, Dave Pitcock is going to show up in the parking lot, ask her to go on a drive, and the rest of her life will forever be different. And it's just going to be the most amazing love story. Can you guys even imagine how far-fetched that would be? My mom's in a trailer house with 4 kids, no heat, no air. I'm trying to work the nights at the Stop to Shop, go to beauty school, teach dance, keep a boyfriend loyal, literally wanted to be married and loved so bad, I bought my own engagement ring. Like, can you even imagine this? Like, please marry me, I'll buy the ring. I was a train wreck, a literal train wreck. And I literally would have fallen right into the same generational curse. I would have fallen into the same generational curse of just not having someone loyal to love me, not having someone that cared about me, having all of the abuse and all the trauma and all the things. And then one day when I got on my knees and prayed with so much discernment, this angel just appears in my car and we just ride off into the sunset. Well, it wasn't really like that. We had to go through surviving his mom having cancer not once but 3 times, his brother who was his best friend taking his life and the trauma of that, building a company that would go bankrupt and we would lose everything, start again, build an empire, we would lose everything, start again, build an empire, and then one day say like, listen, we see a trend here. Maybe we should not team up with people that aren't of the same cloth. Like, maybe we should be careful. Don't touch the stove if it's hot. And you know what? I could have just said, don't trust men. They're all bad. I could have said, don't join network marketing because a company that I built went bankrupt. I could have said, never have kids because if you have kids and then your husband leaves you, you're going to be stuck like my mom was as a single mom with 5 of us. I could have had so many limiting beliefs, but I just stayed so strong to my faith that Jeremiah 29:11, I will forever, that will probably be on my tombstone someday. For I know the plans I have for you, not to harm you, but to give you hope and a future. And in the Bible, they said that one's written in red. So I was like, oh, if it's in red, then it's a promise, right? And for some reason, guys, I believed it. And it works for me every single day of my life when I go there. But a lot of times I don't want to go there. I want to go down in the muck. Like if God is really real, then why are there little children being raped? Like if God is really real, then how come he didn't save my brother-in-law from that tragic thing that happened? If God is really real, how could he allow my daughter to have such a struggle with addiction for 8 solid years? Well, if he wasn't real, she probably wouldn't be here today. I have to change my thinking. And then people will go back and forth. Well, how come she's here, but my kid's not here? Well, how come yours is sober, but mine's not sober? How come your marriage worked, but my marriage didn't work? Here's what I believe. We are all on a path where God is going to bless us in some way. But it doesn't ever say that there won't be pain. It doesn't ever say that there won't be suffering. It definitely doesn't say that there won't be trauma and tragedy and all kinds of things that happen. We've all been through it. But here's what the promise does say. Someday there will no longer be suffering. And that is not going to happen on this planet. So if we know this is just part of life, how do we navigate through 2025 and say, no matter what happens, I'm going to win? For me, I've got to have faith. I have to put him first. I have to wake up every single day. I have to do the work. I have to read. I have to listen. I have to pray. I have to ask for forgiveness. And I have to have no ego and say, guess what? I mess up every single day and you're going to too. But here's the good news. You can be the Hot Mess Express and you can still win. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be somebody that you're not. If I have to go be somebody that I'm not in order to win, I'm not going to play the game. Authenticity is the highest vibration of all. And the day that you become your authentic self and you share your true story and you get out of your own way and you get rid of all of the excuses and you say, God put this dream in my heart, I'm going for it, and you just leap, you just go. If you say, well, nobody wants to join my business because I've never been successful, here's what I want to ask you. Why do you believe that? Because has there ever been anybody that did love you, that would want to be a part of anything you were doing, that did support you? So if one has, there's a bunch of them out there that would. You're focusing on the ones that won't instead of the ones that will. You're focusing on the reasons why not instead of the reasons why. And for me, the bigger you get, the harder it is. You know what I told Dave today? I said, I think we need to get in the car and drive to Kansas City. It's hard to dream in Russell, Kansas. It's hard to get your hopes up in Russell, Kansas. It's hard to have anything that you long for here because there's literally not much. I have to go say, where could I build the center? Where could I build a ranch? Where could I impact people? How could I be closer to an airport to go see my grandkids every day if I can't live in Arizona? This redhead cannot live in Arizona. The only thing I love about Arizona is that my kids and grandkids are there, right? But how do I find a way to build my dream, to stay focused, to work as hard as I'm working and know that it will be worth it? I will make impact. We will be the number one company. We will change more lives. We will help more people. Who's going to follow me if I'm not the leader? I have to lead by example. So even though it's snowy and even though it's icy and even though it's cold and I could sit on my couch and watch a Netflix series all day long or a football game or whatever it is, I have to get my vision board out and I have to co-create not just this year, but the next year and the next year and the next year and the next year. I should be at a seminar this weekend. There's one in Scottsdale I didn't go to, and it would have 10x growthed my brain, right? I believe when you're growing, everything you touch grows. When you're not growing, you're dying, and things around you start to go flat. It is like a vase of flowers. I got this from Melinda Wynn a week ago when I got home from Arizona. It wasn't even budded out. The lilies were little buds, then they bloomed so beautiful. Growing, 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 opening up. And you know what? I'm holding on to it because it's so beautiful. But do you know what happens? After a while, if I don't put some new buds in there, it's going to die. And if I don't put new water, it's going to stink. And if I don't do something, it's going to mold and it's going to ferment. And I'm going to have dead flowers in stinky water with mold. We as humans are the same way. How do you grow? You've got to be reading. You've got to be reading books. You've got to be journaling. You've got to be listening to podcasts. You've got to be filling up your cup, going to church or watching it online. I don't care what you do or what you believe. Here's what I know. You're either in the flow or you're not in the flow. And energy matches energy. So my health goals, my financial goals, my spiritual goals, my relationship goals, my marriage goals, my fitness goals, my how do I grow as a person goals, all of those things are legitimately big goals. But if I don't tend to them, they're going to start to die. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it, right? You all have talents. You all have gifts. You all have things that you could do. And if you don't move, you're going to get run over because the train's going to keep on moving. Like it's going with or without you. And so what I want to encourage all of you to do is to dig deep. It's day 11. Are you growing or are you dying? Are you making excuses or are you making money? Are you making excuses or are you making impact? Are you taking massive and immediate action or are you watching everyone else win? Because it is a lot to see everything that's happening on social media and in the news. Before this, it was the election. And before that, it was all the devastation from the hurricanes. And before that, it was all the devastations from the tornadoes. And do you know what's going to happen in February and March? There will be more suffering somewhere, guys. It's never going to stop. This is life. But we can be a light. If you make a move, you could donate money to the tragedy. If you make a move, you could write a book about what you survived. If you make a move, you could build an empire to impact people with a product, an opportunity, your story of how you rose up like an ember from the ashes. Do you know why my mom is my hero? Because nobody helped her and nobody made her weak. That was my takeaway from the week. I can't give you something that you don't create. I can't fix a problem for you and make it less hard and think that you're going to be strong and courageous and have a story that's going to make impact. You have to get up. One day someone said something to me that made me so angry. They said, nobody's coming to the rescue. And I literally wanted to flip them off with 2 fingers. But I think it's true. Like, we have to rescue ourselves. We have to get on our knees and we have to beg for forgiveness, repent of our sins, pray for strength and courage and direction. And faith without a risk is a contradiction. Like, if you're going to pray it and say it, like, you just got to say it out loud. Lord, I need you. I can't do this without you. And then when he puts something on your heart, you got to go. You got to go like you have an armor on you, like you have a bulletproof vest, like you have a fire suit. You're literally running into the flames. You're running into the water. You're running into the jungle. Like, nothing's going to stop you from God's destiny in your life except you. And it's usually our own thinking. So today I woke up, I filled up my cup. I did not do my hair. I did not get ready. I have on baggy jeans. I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to put in a ponytail and I am going to let them all have it, because here's what I know. I want you to be successful. I want you to be happy. I want you to experience all the great things that any father would want his children to have. And yours does, not your biological. Your championship bloodline says, give it all to her. I want to see her win so big. But you have to believe that you're worth that. You have to look in the mirror and say, I am worthy. I can do it. I'm going to do it. It's game on. Watch my smoke. And then you got to take action. And if you do, when you take action, you're going to have confidence. And when you have confidence, success is going to chase you down. But for most people, they just don't do the dang thing because they think they can do it on their own. And I will tell you guys, without God, I would be nothing. I would be poor, pathetic, penniless, probably still cutting hair, struggling, probably in a horrible marriage. I just know that I know that I know. And I want you to know the secret. It's not that hard. It's just people don't believe it. And when they don't believe it, they make it hard. And it's so draining to watch people struggle so much and to want something for them so bad. And it's like right there. Like you feel like you have a lifeboat at the Titanic and people just want to drown and stay suffering. There's a great podcast. I'm going to end with this. Dave and I listened to The Surrender Experiment, or Living a Life of Surrender. It's on Audible. It's amazing. And there was a point where I was just like so traumatized from everything with Brooklyn. And I literally wanted so badly to just make it all go away, and I couldn't. And I remember thinking my life was so bad and it was so horrible. It was never going to be okay. And I believed that because, I mean, after 8 years, you have a lot of evidence that it's probably never going to be different. But I remember him saying, like, you're watching someone in 6 inches of water and their face is in the water and they're like, I'm drowning. He's like, you're not drowning. You're in 6 inches of water. Lift your head up. No, I'm drowning. And he's like, what does a drowning person want to do? They want you to help them. And then what happens when you try to help the drowning person? You get pulled under. And he's like, when you're back watching this, you're like, you're so crazy. You're not even in deep water. But it's their thinking that makes it so. And he said, when you surrender it, that was my word last year, when you surrender it to God and you just believe and you go on and act as if it is finished, let him fight the battle. The victory is already won. And you guys, it was so painful. Oh my God, it was so painful. That message was in February, March, and April, and June just got even worse a year later. And then November, it was like there was a little bit of hope. But let's be honest, you still have those little beliefs in there that make you want to have doubt and fear. And the enemy wakes up every day and says, how do we destroy her? The enemy wakes up every day and says, how do we create doubt, destruction, fire, flood, flame, abuse, addiction, drugs, low self-esteem. Like that's his job. And I just make it my job when I wake up. He's like, oh shit, she's up and she's reading it and she is about to go crazy. And you know what, guys? You've got to develop that kind of a confidence. You've got to develop that kind of an armor. You've got to develop that kind of a belief. And not everybody's going to believe like you. So then you have to figure out how to live around a bunch of people that you think are weird because they're not like you. And you just need to keep being weird, right? Because when you believe and when you act as if, and when you go and you do, and you just put yourself in that position, you're going to experience abundance. And then you'll understand why there are 5% of the people that don't have the struggle financially. And there are 95% of the people that think that you got lucky. You didn't get lucky. You did the work. And I'm going to encourage you, go do the work because it's a decision. You can be an 80%er or you can be a 20%er. Once you're in the 20%er, you got to say, I'm going to go even harder. I'm going to be in the 5%er. And it's not about things to me. It's not about money to me. It's definitely like money allows you to have choices. But at the end of the day, it's about impact. And you're never going to make impact when you're playing small. So stop playing small. You're worth it. You do have a championship bloodline. You do have a lot of people cheering you on. You are forgiven for anything that you've ever done. You are worthy. Like, what is your problem? If you could see yourself like I see you, you would know you're already there. It just hasn't showed up in your balance in your checking account. Like you're already there. The book just isn't published. You're already there. You just haven't had the dot to dot where your knight in shining armor shows up in your life like mine did. Like I didn't believe it could ever happen for me because I was a little ugly redhead freckle face, right? Like how would I land this gorgeous cowboy that wanted to marry me and have 3 kids? Like it wasn't in the cards until it was. And Pastor Todd's book, Crazy Faith, will tell you like it's only crazy until it happens. And my prayer in 2025 is that it happens for you. Every single one of you. So I got to go get on my company call, but I hope you're having a great year. 2025 is going to be your best year yet. Say it out loud with me. 2025 is going to be my best year yet. And do me a favor. Share this with someone who needs to hear it so we can get in their head and make them feel better to believe that they can. Because when you believe it, you will absolutely achieve it. I'll see you guys next Saturday on No Guts, No Story. I got to go get with all of my Freak Ones family. And if you want to be in our 21-day challenge, it's free. 21 days to elevate your mind, body, and bank account. Just drop in the comments challenge. I'll add you in the group. You don't have to spend any money. You will not believe how good you will feel in the Feel Good Now 21-day challenge. Have a good day, everyone.